Hello, everyone. They're in the Philippines. Greetings from the States. I am. Whoops, sorry. I didn't want that light reflecting on my glasses. I hope you all are doing well and you are starting your second half of your CPE, and I guess it's just about to be rainy season there. I think in March, if I'm remembering correctly. We are still in winter here and still have a little snow on the ground, but we can't wait for springtime. So, anyway, I'm glad to be with you, and the topic tonight is post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It is a mental health issue or condition that may occur in people who have either gone through or experienced a traumatic event or witnessed a highly traumatic event. So there, after witnessing or experiencing those traumatic events, or maybe even multiple traumatic events, a particular set of stress symptoms start occurring, and the person, of course, that sees it or experiences it always feels a threat to their life, their safety, or those that are around or involved or close by. So danger, when you see something like a natural disaster, like a tsunami, earthquakes, like you all have earthquakes there. I know the recent one in Turkey and Syria has just been devastating. Even to watch the pictures here on the news are just really traumatic for me to see. And experiencing PTSD is different for everyone. So some people say they can feel this pain or pressure in their bodies, and even though there might not be anything physically wrong, they have the same reoccurring feelings or emotions that they had when they were going through a traumatic event or witnessing it, such as fear, intense fear, terror, horror, distress, and then those symptoms begin to turn into panic attacks, which we've talked about recently, nightmares, increased heart rate, difficulty breathing. These can occur when a person is going through some post-traumatic stress disorder. The majority of people, though, all of us probably have experienced or witnessed some type of trauma in our lifetime, and not everyone goes on to develop PTSD. And in fact, researchers are not sure 100% why some people get PTSD and others do not. However, there is a higher risk for PTSD that has been linked to 5 different factors. And the first one is not having enough social support. The second one, being very young at the time the traumatic event occurred. Third, having a history of other mental health conditions. 4, experiencing additional stress on top of the initial trauma. So maybe a loved one died, and then there was a house fire or loss of a job. All of these occurring, just stacking on top of each other, can cause PTSD. Being injured or witnessing others being injured or murdered or going through a horrific illness, um, those can be very traumatic and have a psychological impact on a person's well being. To be diagnosed with PTSD, you'll experience certain symptoms in four main categories. So they have labeled these on this website that I found from this, and I'll give you the website. I'll send it to Chaplain Nato, and he can forward it to you. Is the first one, the first category that certain symptoms occur in are what they call intrusion. So, flashbacks, that would be flashbacks, very intrusive thoughts or nightmares of the traumatic event. The second one would be avoidance, staying clear of anything that reminds you of the traumatic event. So, avoiding anything that reminds a person of the event. Third, cognitive and mood changes. Not being able to remember crucial parts of the trauma or having thoughts and feelings that cause you to view yourself or others in a negative way. So the perception changes because of these distorted cognitive thoughts and mood changes um, that are in the aftermath of a traumatic event. And then, fourth, even changes in um, sensory stimulation and reactivity, such as a person may be irritable, angry outburst, reckless or self destructive behavior, and often trouble sleeping. So, but this is important to remember because we can be traumatized, but it's a person is usually diagnosed with PTSD when their symptoms that I've just named just before this last more than 4 weeks or 1 month. And they also cause major problems with a person's daily functioning or relationships. So that's when it takes that to have a formal official diagnosis of PTSD. And then a person begins to uh, learn triggers that will trigger these episodes of symptoms of PTSD. And so you've also learned about triggers. We've talked about that. And a trigger is anything that causes distressing or uncomfortable reminders of the traumatic event. So something is going to be triggered when there is a reminder of the event. So I'm going to share with you a few of examples of PTSD triggers. So once a person that's going through recovery and treatment, formally or informally, to know and recognize the triggers and then develop strategies or techniques to deal with it when the trigger happens. Um, Many different things can trigger PTSD symptoms, such as any kind of visual images, um, that you would see something that would take you back to relive the situation that you experienced all over again. It's just like you're in this dream and you're reliving it. That's what a flashback is. And different noises. For example, people who have been fighting in these wars, the Iraq War, and all of these other different horrible war torn Ukraine situations right now, Ukraine and Russia, but noise. We've got a person in our church that is a retired Army chaplain, U.S. Army chaplain, and he served over in Iraq. And when they first came here, they were in Korea. Then he got sent here to work in our arsenal. Um, and if there was any noise when we were with them at the church or fellowships or whatever, loud noises just really startled him more than usual. So, noises, different smells, sometimes colors, food, even the weather can trigger um, these symptoms, PTSD symptoms. And if they can be predicted or identified, then a person is able to eventually learn, oh, this is triggering me, or I want to avoid this because this could be a major trigger. And a lot of it depends on what the actual traumatic event was. Um, so there are some real examples of some PTS triggers, and I'll name a few of those with the example of like a real life situation. And just remember that PTSD will vary from person to person. It's very unique, as all mental illnesses are, to the person, their circumstances, their background, their genetics. All of that is unique for each person. This website gave 20 examples of triggers that can set off PTSD symptoms. For example, if you were in a bad vehicle accident and you were struggling to open the door latch because maybe the car had rolled, or the vehicle, the bus, whatever, had rolled and smashed in the door, and you were stuck in the car for a vehicle for a brief but frightening time. So, uh, something as simple as you go into say, a mall, CR restroom, and you're in the stall or the restroom, and the lock, you can't get out, and those kind of things will trigger a reaction to whenever that you were in that motor vehicle accident. Um, I have been stuck in an elevator 2 or 3 times in my life. And so whenever I'm at the hospital and I'm in an elevator that's not working right, I always almost have this little panic attack. And I think back of the days when I was stuck in an elevator and how that caused me to have claustrophobia. So, those are the kind of little panic attack triggers. Um, Medical care. Say a person has a cancer diagnosis and they're just scheduling a routine after the treatment of cancer, and they're scheduling a routine checkup with their doctor and just going to the doctor for a checkup triggers the memories and the experiences of going through cancer. So the medical trauma of that, and a person might just want to avoid going back to the doctor. Emotional pain. Seeing someone being racially discriminated against meaning reminds the person of the racial trauma they've endured, or some kind of emotional hurt or pain. Words, loud sounds, like fireworks, or those kind of things can make people think of war zone areas. Angry voices, maybe a person was verbally abused as a child, or yelled at, and when a person hears those angry voices, it triggers. I'm looking down here. Maybe touch, if a person was sexually assaulted, unwanted touch, or just even by accident, someone touches you on the shoulder and it can spark a trigger of that. So, those are some examples. Also, like location, certain locations might remind a person of the traumatic event that they experienced, witnessing a murder or something like that. So, those are some of the ways, and we've been going about 15 or 20 minutes now. So, what I think I would like to do is take the next month's didactic and finish up with coping skills, and also, once a person is assessed, in the assessment, they are diagnosed with PTSD. What happens then? The treatment for that. So I think I'm going to save that for the next session for March. And there's PTSD, as with all these different mental illnesses, there's a lot there, and I just want to cover enough of the basic highlights that it can help you personally, your family, the people that you talk with. um, you know these are life events that just happen and occur and affect our well-being, our minds, our emotions, our bodies. So I think I will end here, and we'll look forward to knowing more about the assessment and the treatment and recovery for post-traumatic stress syndrome. All right, take care. Until next time, bye.